Welcome to one and all present here. We are Alexa Developers SRM, officially affiliated with Amazon Alexa. Alexa is a voice service that provides powers Amazon Echo, provides capabilities or skills that enables customers to interact with devices through voice, venturing into a future where technology is controlled by voice rather than other forms like touch. We harbor developers that showcase best of their skills to vibe with Alexa. Powered by Amazon Alexa, we conduct informative workshops, hackathons, and online competitions to build a strong vocal network. To start with, I'm Udit Dhawan. I'm Udit Dhawan, a business associate at Alexa Developers SRM. Welcome to the day two of Sensei training session. Um, our today's session is based is the our today's session is on the basics of Node.js, where we will be learning how to build a server with Node.js with Sashank Kumar as a technical associate at Alexa Developers SR. And to introduce our today's sponsors are title sponsor as Seaport AI, official saving partner as GrabOn, Sashido as our ideation partner, TechCrawler as our publicity partner, and Repellet as our technical partner. So, Sashank, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Udit, for the introduction. Hello, I am Sashank, and I am a first year student in the Department of Computer Science, AIML, and I welcome you to the day two of Sensei. I hope all of you were able to attend the day one of Sensei, where my friend Pratyusha went over JavaScript and the basics of writing JavaScript for your browser. Today, we'll be covering Node.js. So in today's session, we'll be discussing what Node.js is, the asynchronous nature of Node.js, what are modules, what is the FS module, the readline module, how the web really works, and the Express framework. Now, all of you know the basics of JavaScript. If you don't, you can head down over to our YouTube channel where you can find the recorded version of the previous session. And if you have any doubts regarding that session or today's session, please check out our Discord server. It's a very lively place and will help you out in no time. So the Node.js is not a programming language. It is a runtime environment where you can run your JavaScript code. So we know that JavaScript can be used to make your static website dynamic. You can add logic to your website using JavaScript, but you can also use the same language on your machine, that is on your laptop or on your server, to do the backend operations. So yes, kid, you are right. Now, so this is the technical description of Node.js. So what does Node.js really do? It just takes your JavaScript code and runs it, and you can perform various tasks. So let's head over to our browser and see how you can install Node.js. Let's go to this and just type Node.js. Click on the first link, and you should download the LTS version. We at Alexa recommend the LTS version, that stands for long-term support, so that you get the stable version of Node.js, but you can also install the current version. You should also install the Visual Studio Code. You can use any other text editor, but we at Alexa recommend using Visual Studio Code, and on the next session, we'll be using Visual Studio Code as well. Since I'm on a Windows laptop, I'll be downloading the Windows version, but feel free to download Linux or the Mac version. But if you don't want to use Node.js and Visual Studio Code and you are feeling lazy, you can just check REPL it out. You can just log in, and you can see that it has a Node.js option. Just click on it, and you can create a repository. I'll be naming it Sensei Day 2. So I'll create a repository, and I'll click on this, and you can see that you can write your code here. Let it load. Yeah. So you can see that the file created by them is index.js, which follows the convention, and you can type your code here. So instead of downloading Node.js and Visual Studio Code and writing your code there and compiling it, you can just use REPL.it. It is a free platform. You can register using your Google ID or GitHub ID. You can also import your GitHub code to this. So let's see how it works, and I'll just write console.log log, I write a message, hello world, and I'll give a semicolon, which is optional, and then I'll just run it. So see how easy it was. In today's session, I'll be using Node.js and Visual Studio Code, but feel free to use this or any other text editor. Just make sure that you have Node.js installed. Let's head back over to our PPT. And so any introduction or any discussion of Node.js is incomplete without talking about its asynchronous nature. So what does it mean when we say that Node.js is asynchronous by nature? It means that when Node.js is executing a file, it does not go line by line. Instead, it starts all the tasks. Imagine there are two tasks. It will start all those tasks at once. And once they finish, it will give you the output or the process is done. This does not mean that you cannot use the sync feature. You can just write the sync keyword and you can perform a task in a synchronous way. So yeah, you can use sync to block a program. Now, why do we prefer asynchronous Node.js? Imagine you are making a backend server, and let's imagine you are a backend dev at Facebook. Now, if you are working at Facebook, you get multiple requests at once. You get millions of like requests and comment requests. So if your program waits to process the first request, all those millions of likes and dislike requests are waiting. So that is very bad, and your consumer or your client will have a very bad experience. So instead, what we do is we process all those requests at once and we get a better user experience. So let's take an example. And the first graph shows you a synchronous code where you are running four tasks. And let's say you are running a task number one, task number two, task number three, and task number four. So what synchronous code will do, it will start the task number one, it will finish that task, and then move on to the second task. But when you're doing the same process in the asynchronous code, it will start all those tasks at once, and as they finish, it will either store them in the database or give you the desired output. Let's take an analogy, and let's say you have to do some chores. You have to go out, get your clothes altered, you have to get some pizza, and you have to get your laptop repaired. So if you do that in the synchronous way, first you'd go to the tailor, give him the clothes and say, order these clothes. And while you are doing it, I'll stand here and wait for you to finish. Once the tailor finishes altering the clothes, you'll take it and then go to the pizza shop. Then tell the cook that cook my pizza and I'll stand here and wait for you. Once it is done in 30 minutes or so, you'll take the pizza and then go to the repair shop and then get your laptop repaired and then move on over to the next task. But if you are doing that asynchronously, what you'll do is you'll just go to the tailor, give him the clothes, and say, okay, alter my clothes, I'll be back soon. Then you'll go to the pizza shop, you'll tell them, okay, cook my pizza, I'll be back soon. Then you'll go to the laptop repair shop, give them the laptop, and say the same thing to them. And as they are done, you'll just pick them up. This way, you are saving a lot of time. This is why we prefer asynchronous Node.js when we are doing the backend operations. So modules. So the technical definition of modules is that they are libraries or packages. They are huge chunks of code which you can import to your code, and you can just use those functionalities. Let's talk in layman's terms. So imagine this, you have to bake a cake. There are two ways you can do that. You can either start from the scratch, get all the materials, mix them, then bake it. This is the long process, but some people prefer that. Or you can just get the cake mix, you can add some milk to it and then bake it. So when you are just baking one cake, you can easily start from the scratch. But as backend devs, we need to bake a lot of cakes. So what we do is we get some cake mix, that is the modules, and we import them to our code. Since these modules are published by others, they are very well written and they are tested and tried. You can just import those and write them in your code. Let me give you another example. Imagine this, you have to find the power of a number. Let's say you have to find 2 to the power of 2. You can just run a loop and multiply 2 by 2. But what if you have to find 1000 to the power of 1000? This way, you'll have to write a loop, multiply 1000 by 1000 by 1000, 1000 times. Or you can just import the power function and write math.pow and 1000 comma 1000, and it will give you the desired output. So some modules like the FS module, that is the file system module, or the readline module, come inbuilt with Node.js. Then there are some modules like Express or Node Cache, which you can install using the npm. So let's go over the FS module first. So the FS stands for file system. This module allows us the developers to interact with our file system. We can easily read or write or rename or delete our files. The second module we'll be going over today is the read line module. This module allows us to create an interface and either input or give an output to our terminal or our command line. The third module is the Express module. So you need npm to install this module. We'll be going in depth in all of this in the coding session. But so if you consider the basics, Express is nothing but a web framework which allows you to process HTTP requests. More on this later. So let's head on over to VS Code, or you can check out rebel.it. I'll be using VS Code. So this is my VS Code. I have created a folder named Sensei Day 2. Let me create a file, index.js. So we'll name the first file index because that is the convention. And just let's check out how the node actually runs on your machine. So just write console.log, write hello world, welcome to Sensei, right? And I'll save this quickly, Control S. I'll open my terminal. So you can open your terminal by clicking on this terminal, new terminal option, or you can use the shortcut key that is the Control, Shift, and the backtick. So this is my terminal. I hope all of you can see it. I'll clear the screen and I'll just write node, N-O-D-E, index.js. And here you go. Here is our desired output. So I hope all of you are following along. So let's try something else. I'll just comment this out so that it does not come in our way. And I'll show you how the asynchronous nature of Node actually works. So let's set a timeout. And I'll quickly write a function here. This is an arrow function. You just need to give a parameter list. This will be empty. Then an equal to sign and the greater sign. This is an arrow, the curly brackets, and just write console.log. And let's say hello world, right? And quickly I'll give a timeout. So how do you give a timeout? After the curly brackets, you need to give a comma and the time in milliseconds. So I'll give 100. I'll save this. Then I'll give another console.log. I'll write hello friend. I'll save this as well. I'll run this in Node. Let's see if this works. So you can just type the file name as well, or you can add the extension. So do you see how this works? Let me increase the time. Let's make this 1000 milliseconds. Always remember this is in milliseconds. Right. Let's save this, run it again. Node index. You see hello friend is printed first, and then it waits for 100 milliseconds and then prints this. So if this was not synchronous, and if this was synchronous and not asynchronous, what your program would do is wait for 1000 milliseconds, print this, and then move to hello friend. But since this is asynchronous, it will not wait for this. It will say, okay, I'll come back to you in 1000 milliseconds and then print this hello friend. And after 1000 milliseconds, it will come back and print hello world. So let's comment this out as well. I'll be commenting this out. You can also delete it or just leave it, but that will just increase your clutter over here. And let's save this, and let's check out how to import a module. So remember what modules were, the cake mixes and other things. So you can just import a module by first writing require into bracket. No, yeah, require. Then I'll give the brackets. In the single quotes, you need to write the name of the module. So first we'll be working with the FS module, the file system module. I'll give the semicolon. Now you need to store this module somewhere. So do you remember what Pratyusha taught? You need to store it in a let or a const. So I write const fs is equal to this. So we are first importing the fs module, and then we are storing it in the variable fs. Save this, and let's work with this module. So let's say I'll create a text file here. I'll name it readme.txt, and I'll write something here. Hi there, welcome to day 2 of Sensei. Right. I'll save this. I'll go over here, and I'll just store the data like this. Let data is equal to fs dot read file in a synchronous way. We'll be doing the synchronous way first, and then we'll be going over the non-synchronous, that is the asynchronous way. Okay, and I'll just write the file name, readme.txt, and I'll save this. So your fs.read file sync will go to this file and check what data there is and just store it in data. So let's print this, and I'll write data here. So can you guess what will be printed here if I run this? Let's check it out. Okay. So ideally, it should print, "Hi there, welcome to Sensei." But what is this? This is a buffer, and these are hexadecimal codes. So your computer does not process this file in English. It processes it in hexadecimal. So to make sure that we get the output in English, we need to add encoding. So I did not create this encoding. These are predefined, and you just need to remember this, UTF-8. So let's run this again in Node index, and you can see this fs.read file sync will go to this file, pick this up, and print it here. Now you can also write files. Write files as in you can take this data or literally any other data and store it in another file like readme. So in Node.js, you do not need to create a write file first. Node will do that for you. So let me do that. So I'll write fs.write file sync. So after that, I'll give it a name. So let's give it write me.txt, and I'll write data over here and a code. So when the program comes to this, it sees that okay, I have to write a file. I have to write it in write me.txt, and what do I have to write? I have to write data. Let's run this. When I hit enter, just focus over here in the left side, node index, and you can see it has printed this because I printed it, and here a write me file has been created. Let's open this, and you can see the data has been copied to this. So this is how you perform a basic read and write operation synchronously. So let's check it. Let's check how it works asynchronously. I'll comment this out again. I leave the fh model here. I'll just cut it and I'll paste it over here. So I'll do the same thing asynchronously now. So for that, I do not need a variable. I just write fs.read file. I'll give it a name so that it knows where to fetch data from. readme.txt. I like the encryption, encoding, my bad, and then parameter list, error, and data. So make sure you write these in this order. First, it will take in error and the data. As soon as your program comes to this, to the fs.read file, it will say, okay, I'll read this file, I'll encode it this way, and I'll store it in data. So this is a function. So we'll give curly brackets, open, will print this. Let's see how will we print this. No, I just need to print data. So I'll also do one more thing, and I'll write console.log printed. Right. I'll save this and I'll run. So can you guess which one will come first, printed or data? Okay, let me check if anyone is answering. Okay, I'll just move along. And yep, I'll hit node index and enter. So printed is printed first. Why? Because this is asynchronous. It does not wait to read the file. It just moves on and prints it. And then when this file is read, it comes back and prints the data. So what if I want to write a file asynchronously? I'll just add this to it, fs.write file. I'll give it a name. Let's say write me.txt. Then I'll give it the data. And again, I have to give it a callback function. Whenever you are working with asynchronous modules, you need to give it a callback. So I'll just write an error here. It will do nothing but print a message. Let's see what the message will be. Write file written. I'll change this and I'll add file read. Okay. So let's run this. Okay, so do you see what happened? it printed first, obviously, because it won't wait for your program to read it. It will just move on along. Then it printed file you read because your file was read, and then it moved on to file written. So let me make a change here so that you know that it is actually working and not blabbering along on. I am Sashank. Right. I'll save this. There is no I am Sashank here. I'll run it. Clear my screen first. Node index. So let's check the write me file out. And you see it has been copied here. So this is how your FS module works. You can write, read, delete, and rename your files like this. And the next module which we'll be covering is the readline module. So let's check it out. So how do you require the readline module? You write the same thing. You write read line. Make sure that all are in small. Your caps lock is off, and then I'll just give a semicolon. I'll store it in something like read line and save this. Then I have to create an interface. So how do we create an interface? I write const read is equal to read line dot create interface. My VS Code will automatically suggest me functions. I'll give a bracket, curly brackets, and I'll write input is process dot standard in, and my output is process dot standard out. So that's all. You have saved this. Now you have successfully created an interface. So let's enter something. All you need to do is write read dot question and give a message. Let's say enter your name, give a space, then you need to give a comma, and then because this is a function, you need to give a parameter list. So I'll name the parameter name. I'll give it an arrow function, and within this, I'll just print the name, enter. So, and a message. Let's say your name is this plus name, right? So I'll run this node index, and it asks me for my name. So my name is, let's say, BB, Bhuvan Bam, nothing else. Bhuvan Bam, right? And it says that, okay, your name is Bhuvan Bam. So this is how the readline module works. Now you can see that it is still expecting an input, but we haven't given anything. So you need to close this readline module. So first Control C to terminate this, then I'll write read dot close. This will close my readline module so that my terminal does not expect any more inputs. Let's run it again. And I'll enter this, enter my name again. Let's say Voldemort. I shouldn't say this out loud, but okay, your name is Voldemort. So this is how your readline module works. Let's integrate the two modules. I'll bring FS module so that you can see it. Control. Okay. So let's do something cool and create a template. temp1.txt. I'll store hi here. You'll see why I'm storing hi here. Then a template2.txt. I'll give it a exclamation mark. Welcome to Sensei. Okay, save this. Now, since I'm entering a name, I can print custom files for people. For example, I can create a custom file for you. I can just take your name as input. I already have the template. I can enter your name, concatenate it, and print it. Let's see how that works. So I'll leave the read.close here because we need to close the readline module. Before that, we will just use the FS module to let's store something, data1 in the FS module. Read file sync. I'll give the name of the file, temp1.txt. I'll give the encoding, F8, and I think we're good to go. Let's data2 is equal to fs.read file sync. We need to give it temp2.txt, then the encoding, and we will save this. And let's print something cool. Data1 plus I'll give it a space. Then I'll add the name here. Then I'll add your data 2. So data 1 stores what data that is there in the template 1, that is hi, your name is your name, and then the template 2 stores welcome to Sensei. Let's run this. I'll say this again, node index. So increase the size. Okay, enter your name. So let's say my name is Sashank. So it will print, hi Sashank, welcome to Sensei. So you have successfully used the FS and the readline module together. Now let me do one more thing and save this and write a file. Let's write a file that I'll say student welcome. So I'll do it. I'll give the file a name. I'm not going to show it in RightB. I'll create a separate file. Let's say welcome.txt. We'll use this later. UTF. No, you don't need to give UTF-8 here. You just need to give this. Okay. This I stored in data. Let final data is equal to this. I'll store say final data here. So you are accessing data 1, data 2, then you are entering a name, and then you are storing it in final data and then printing it. So let's run it here. I'll clear this, clear the clutter. I'll run index again and enter your name. My name is Sashank Kumar, and it prints this. But in the meanwhile, it has also created a file called welcome. Let's open this, and you can see the same thing which is here has been stored. So you have successfully used the FS module to create, to write, and read files. You have also used the readline module to interact with your user or your terminal. So these were the first two modules. Now let's head on back over to our PPT and see what the Express module is. So before we cover the Express module, a genuine question. Do any one of you know what a client is? Let's see. Type yes if you know, no if you don't. Okay, so we don't know how the web works. So no problem. We'll just go to our PPT and okay. So yesterday you learned how the JavaScript runs on your browser. This, anything you are using, your Meet or the Alexa Dev SRM website or meet.google.com, that runs on your browser. That is the front end part. And when you are accessing something, for example, you go to Instagram and you click, hit a like, it sends a request to your server that store a like in the database, that add one more like. There were 370 likes. Now you need to add one more like. So the backend part of your program, that is your server and the database, is where your data is stored. Now, how does your front end and the backend talk? They talk using the APIs. Now, what is an API? API stands for Application Program Interface. In a few moments, we'll be building an API ourselves. Now, these requests and response are part of what you call HTTP. HTTP stands for Hypertext Protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which are just rules and regulations of how the web actually talks. So you send a request to your server, it processes that data, and the data which is processed is sent back to your browser using the response. So now we have already discussed what Express is. It is just a module. It provides a small, robust tooling for HTTP servers. You can run it using the npm install Express. Now, there are basically 4 types of HTTP requests. That is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So these are just rules and regulations, as I have already discussed. There are 4 types: the get, the post, the put, and the delete. I think it is pretty evident from the name that the get request will fetch data. The post request will put some data, that is, it will store data. The put request will update the data, and the delete request will obviously delete the data. Let's take an example. You head on over to Alexa Dev SRM's Instagram page, and you see that there's a cool post, and you want to comment something. You click on the comments button, and you see that there are multiple comments. So how does that work? As soon as you click the comment button, the front end part of your app send a request, a get request to your backend and say that, okay, give me all the comments. So that is how a get request works. Now you see that all of your friends are commenting something, so you want to comment something as well. So you type, okay, wow, cool post, thanks for sharing. As soon as you hit enter, a post request will be generated and sent to your backend via a request. And the backend will process it and say that, okay, I have stored it in the database. I'll send back a response saying, okay, your comment was posted successfully. Now you see that your comment has a typo. Instead of cool post, you wrote cool posts. So what you will do is select the edit button. Now Instagram is Instagram. It allows us to edit things, unlike Twitter. So you just send a put request saying, okay, I need to erase the S part. Then you send a request, your database again updates, and then sends back a response saying, okay, the comment has been updated. Now you will see that, okay, I don't want to leave this comment here. I want to delete it for some ungodly reason. I don't know why. So you just hit delete and your browser will send a browser or your app will send a delete request and your data will be deleted. In today's session, we'll be covering the GET request only. If you want to learn more about the GET request, you can come over to our day 3 of Sensei, where my friend Vashisht will be teaching you how to use the post, put, and the delete request. So let's code again and see how the Express module works. And I'll comment this part out for the moment. Okay. And let me size of this. Okay. So let's require the Express module. Okay. Again, I'll store this in Express, or we'll use constant. Right, Express is equal to this. And then we need to store it in app. So you are just using this. Okay. Let's create a GET request, app.get. So the syntax for this GET request is that you write app.get, then your route, and then you write, actually there's a front slash here. Okay, then your route, and then a function. So this is your syntax. What is a route? Let's see. I'll take you to the browser. Let's come here. Let's open alexa.srm.com. Let it load. Okay. So this is your home page. If I just give it a front slash, that is the default or home route, it will load this page again. Cool. So, but if I give it a skill route, that is a front slash and skill, let me zoom this in, okay, and skills, that is the skills route. Notice this, the skills route, and hit enter, it will tell my backend that you have to load the skills page, and the skills page will be loaded. So this is what you call a route. Let's go back to VS Code. Okay, let's create our own custom routes. So I'll just write app.get. I'll give it a route, a default route, just a front slash, then a function. You can write something like function home and call it, and write the function somewhere else, or you can just write a arrow function here, give it a parameter. Okay, one second. And you need to write your request and response. Remember when we discussed how the HTTP actually works? It sends requests and get responses. Your client or your browser will send requests to your backend so that we know what to process in the backend. And then our backend, that is what we are doing right now, will send a response telling, okay, your task was either successfully done or not done, so that the front end knows what to do next. So we will write request here. Always remember the request comes first. It comes before the response. So I write request and response. You can write anything. Since this is a parameter list, you can write basically anything. You can just write request and res. But since we are learning right now, I write the entire thing, request and response. Then I'll give a arrow function, and then I'll open this and I'll print something. Let's say, actually, I'll send something, that is res dot response dot send. Let's send a cool message like, welcome to Sensei. I hope you are having fun. Right. Now we have successfully created a route, but how will your browser know where to look for? So we'll just create a app.listen, and I'll give it a port. We'll be discussing what a port is very soon. I'll give it 3000. Then another function that we know, pass then this, and we'll print something so that we know that the server is up. So I'll write to it server. Okay, let's run the server and then we'll discuss everything. All right, index. Okay, so do you know what this error is? I told you previously that fs module and the readline module come inbuilt with Node, but the express module is not inbuilt. You need to install it using the npm. So how do you install it? You write npm install express. You just type this in and hit enter. It will build my module. We'll wait for a second. Okay, done. Our Express module has been imported, and I'll again clear this CLS, hit node index. So you can see that who dares awaken the server has been printed here. That means my server is actively listening. Let's check it out in a browser. I'll open a browser. And to access your server locally, when you are working in VS Code or any other text editor, you need to access your local host. You can just type local host a colon and then 3000. Now local host is something that you need to use always, but you can customize this 3000 part. So now what are ports? Your laptop or your machine has multiple ports. Some of them are used by your applications or other things, and some are free. For example, 3000 is a free port. We recommend using any port, any number above 5000. For example, 6000, 9000, any other number. So when you enter 3000, it knows that your server is listening to 3000. Just enter this and then this route and hit enter. You can see that my server is up and running. I sent a get request from here and it has fetched the data and send back this. Welcome to Sensei. I hope you are having fun. Now, what if I enter a wrong route? I'll enter Sensei, which is not a route we have defined yet. I'll hit enter and it sends this cannot get Sensei. This means that it tried to send a get request, but there are no routes named Sensei. So let's create a route named Sensei. And app.get. I'll create a route named Sensei. This can be anything. You can write Sensei welcome. I'll just write Sensei here. I'll create another function. Again, I'll give it some request and response parameters. I'll give an arrow function. I'll give a curly bracket, and then I'll enter send response.send welcome. Actually, I forgot the single quotes. Welcome to Sensei. I'll save this. Welcome to Sensei. This is the Sensei route. I'll save this. Now you have to close your server every time you make a change. So how do you close it? You just enter Control and C. Your server has been closed. Now run it again. Node index, and your server is up again. We'll go back to our browser, and I'll open a new tab. You can also use this particular thing 127.0.0, but I'll be using localhost. Localhost 3000 again. I'll give it a home route, and it again shows welcome to Sensei. I hope you're having fun. But this time, when I enter Sensei, it will give me this message: welcome to Sensei. This is the Sensei route. Let's create a few more routes. For example, do you know when you enter a wrong website, it gives you an error 404. This page does not exist. So let's create our own error 404 page. What if I enter some gibberish? It will again send this. This is not very pretty. So I'll go back and I'll enter app.get. I'll create a route, a default route. I'll just add an asterisk here, a function, in request, and a response. I'll give arrow, I'll give this, and I'll send it a message saying error 404, wait a minute, who and where are you? Go back to the page. And I'll save this. Again, yep, I should. Yeah. I'll save this, save it here. Node, close it, node index. Again, the server is up. Let's head on back over to our browser. Open another tab, localhost again. You can see our server is up. It is sending these messages, and let's enter some gibberish like um, this. It sends us this error 404 message. Wait a minute, who and where are you? Go back to the home page. So we'll head back to our home page and see you are back at the home page. You can virtually enter any route which is not defined and you'll get the 404 message. Let's create one more route. Remember when we created a welcome message? This one. Hi Sashank Kumar, welcome to Sensei. Let's send this to our browser. I'll go back to our index page and I'll create one more route. Let's close this first. Okay, write a question mark here. This does not look pretty. Okay, so I'll create a get, create a route. Let's say welcome route. Give a response and a request, and a response. I'll give it an arrow function, curly brackets, and I'll write response dot send file, and then I'll use the fs module. I have exported the fs module here. Uh, okay, I haven't actually. I'll have to uncomment it. Okay, I'll just write it again. No problem. Const fs is equal to require fs. Right. We'll save this. We'll send a file. Which file are we sending? When you have to send a message, you always write the message in single quotes and then type send. But when you have to send a file like this welcome file, you need to write send file. And then how do you access the file? Let's access the file first. Let file is equal to fs read file sync. The name of the file, welcome.txt, encoding is UTF-8 encoding, and here we go. Just write file here so that it knows that it has to send this file. Actually, when you are storing this, it is storing the data, so you need not send a file. My bad. And I'll just write this. I'll rename it so that you are not confused. On the server, let's check if it is working or not. Index the server is up. Let's go back to the browser. Let's run it again. Same message. Enter this. Great. Let's write welcome. So this is not a defined route. Okay. Seems you have made a mistake. All right, no problem. We'll just do something else. Okay. File here. I'll copy paste this. Here. I'll save this. Okay. That can. Okay. Actually, I did not save this. Code. The server is up. And let's go back to our home page. Hopefully, it should work this time. And here we go. Wait a minute, who are you? So, response. Let me check this out again. All right, fs. Let's do this synchronously. Welcome.txt. The coding is UTF-8. Error. Data. As a function, will send response dot send data this time. Okay. So this should work this time. Let's close the server, CLS, and node index. The server is up. Hopefully this will work. And it is not. Okay, we'll go over this later. So let's comment this out. And so this is how you create a basic API. And we have successfully created GET requests. And let's head on back over to our PPT. And this was it. You can connect with me on GitHub. I am Shashank Kumar everywhere. I'm also Shashank Kumar on LinkedIn. Do check out our Instagram page. Please join us on Discord so that we can help you out if you have any doubts. Visit our website alexadevasarem.com and please feed us back at feedback.alexadevasarem.com. Back to you, Udit.
Yeah, thank you, Shashank, for such an informative session. With this, we conclude our day two session. Hope you all enjoyed it. For any doubts or queries, please feel free to reach us on our Discord server and shoot your doubts. We'll be more than happy to clear your doubts. Before that, we want you to spare 2 minutes to fill our feedback form provided in the chat box, as your feedback is valuable for us for the upcoming sessions. With that, I would like to thank our speaker for such an enlightening session, our audience for their patient listening, and at last, our proud sponsors, which are Seaport AI as our title sponsor, GrabOn as our official saving partner, Sashido as our ideation sponsor, TechCrawler as our publicity partner, and Ripple as our technical partner. Once again, I would like to thank each one of you for attending the session.